Hi there. You're listening to English Podcast for Beginners, your friendly guide to learning English step by step. Let's learn, practice, and grow together.
Welcome back to English Podcast for Beginners. I'm Alexa.
And I'm Nick. Today's topic is something a lot of English learners forget about speaking slowly but correctly.
Yes, many learners want to speak fast because they think it means they're fluent. But that's not always true. Speaking fast doesn't mean speaking well.
Exactly. Sometimes when people try to speak too fast, they make more mistakes, or their pronunciation becomes unclear. The goal should be to communicate clearly, not quickly.
Right, think about it. If someone speaks very fast, but you can't understand them, does it help communication? Not really, but if someone speaks slowly and clearly, even with a simple vocabulary, you understand everything. That's real communication.
I totally agree. I remember one of my students who always tried to speak as fast as possible. He thought that was the only way to sound native, but when he slowed down, his English actually sounded better.
That's a great example. Slowing down gives your brain more time to think about grammar, pronunciation, and word choice. It's like walking before you run. You build balance and control first.
And listeners also appreciate it. If you're talking to a native speaker, they'll understand you better if you take your time. It's not embarrassing to speak slowly. It shows that you care about being understood.
Exactly, and many native speakers naturally speak slower when they talk to learners, so you can match that rhythm. You don't need to rush, you just need to be accurate.
That's true. Also, speaking slowly doesn't mean you sound unnatural. It can actually sound confident. You know what you're saying, and you are not afraid of pauses.
I like that. Confidence doesn't mean speed. Confidence means clarity.
Yes, and when you speak slowly, you can focus on pronunciation. For example, you can pronounce word endings like ed or s correctly. Those small details make a big difference.
Good point. Many learners forget endings like walked or watches because they speak too fast. But if they slow down, they have time to pronounce them.
Another thing is intonation, the rise and fall of your voice. When you rush, your tone becomes flat. But when you slow down, your speech sounds more natural and expressive.
True, you can practice by recording yourself and listening. If it sounds too fast or unclear, try again but slow. You'll notice it's easier to understand.
That's a great exercise. Also, I tell my students to practice with short sentences first. For example, instead of saying a long sentence quickly, say a short one slowly and clearly. Like, I went to the store yesterday. Practice until it feels natural.
That's perfect advice. And one more tip, when you speak slowly, you give your listener time to process your words. That helps the conversation flow better.
Exactly. Communication is not only about speaking, it's also about making it easy for others to understand you.
So, to all our listeners, don't worry about speed. Focus on correctness and clarity. The speed will come naturally with time.
Yes, just like when you learn to ride a bicycle. At first, you go slowly to stay balanced. Later, you go faster, but you still keep your balance. It's the same with English.
I love that comparison. All right, let's talk about some practical ways to train yourself to slow down when you speak English.
One easy way is to count a short pause between your ideas. For example, after one sentence, take a breath before you start the next one. It helps you control your speed naturally.
Yes, breathing makes a big difference. Many learners forget to breathe when they speak English, especially when they're nervous. But if you take a small breath, it gives your brain a moment to prepare the next sentence.
And that short moment can help you avoid grammar mistakes too. You have time to check your structure before you say it.
Exactly. It's like giving your brain a little thinking space. Also, when you pause, you sound more confident, not like you're struggling to find words, but like you're choosing your words carefully.
That's true. Even native speakers pause. You hear it all the time in conversations, presentations, or interviews. They don't speak without stopping, so it's completely normal.
Yes, and actually, it makes your English sound more natural. You can use short pauses to separate your ideas. For example, today, I want to talk about my weekend. It was relaxing. I stayed at home and watched a movie. That rhythm feels calm and clear.
Exactly. And if you listen to English podcasts or videos, you can pay attention to how speakers pause. You'll notice that clear speakers always have a natural rhythm, not too fast, not too slow.
That's a good listening exercise. I also suggest shadowing, but slowly. Many people do shadowing too fast, trying to match the speaker's speed. Instead, you can slow it down and focus on pronunciation.
Yes, slow shadowing helps you notice each sound, each word ending, and the stress patterns. If you practice that, your pronunciation becomes stronger.
Right, it's not about copying speed, it's about copying accuracy. And when you get the accuracy right, the speed will come later.
That's a great point. Another thing that helps is to focus on chunking speaking in small groups of words instead of word by word. For example, instead of saying, I went to the park, you say, I went to the park. It flows naturally, even when slow.
Yes, speaking in chunks makes your speech sound connected and fluent, even at a slow pace. It's like music, rhythm matters more than speed.
Exactly. And it also helps your listener. When you speak in chunks, people can follow your ideas more easily.
Another small tip, don't be afraid of silence. Some learners panic when there's a second of quiet. But silence is normal. It gives both speakers time to think.
I completely agree. Silence doesn't mean you don't know what to say. It means you're preparing to say it well.
That's such an important mindset. When you stop worrying about speaking fast, you actually enjoy speaking more. You feel calmer, and your words come out more naturally.
Yes, you stop thinking, I need to sound fluent, and start thinking, I want to be understood. That's a real change in attitude.
Exactly, and this is especially helpful in daily conversations. For example, when you're ordering food, meeting new people, or talking in class, clarity is more important than speed.
Right. People will respect you more if they understand you clearly than if they have to ask you to repeat what you said because you spoke too fast.
That's so true. And remember, speaking slowly doesn't mean your English level is low. It actually shows maturity in language use. You're in control of your words.
Yes, and even professional speakers, teachers, and news presenters often speak at a calm, moderate speed. They do it on purpose so everyone can follow.
So it's actually a professional skill, not a weakness.
Exactly. And if you ever record yourself, you'll notice that slower speech sounds more powerful and easier to understand.
I like that idea, recording yourself once a week to check progress. It's like hearing your own English improve little by little.
Definitely. You can keep a journal or voice diary. Just speak for 1 or 2 minutes each day. Focus on slow, correct sentences.
That's a wonderful habit. Over time, your brain gets used to forming correct sentences automatically. Then, one day, you'll realize you can speak both correctly and naturally, without forcing it.
Exactly. That's the moment when your slow speaking becomes fluent speaking.
So, Nick, what do you think is one mistake learners make when trying to speak slowly?
And make the listener lose focus. It's better to speak in short phrases, not just separate words.
Yes, that's a good point. Slow doesn't mean robotic. It's about being calm and steady, not stopping after every single word.
Right. You can imagine your speech like waves moving smoothly, not stopping suddenly.
That's a beautiful image. It's about flow. And flow comes from balance, between slow enough to be clear, but fast enough to stay natural.
Exactly. And that balance is what we'll keep practicing and talking about.
Because once you understand that balance, everything about your English starts to improve. Your pronunciation, your grammar, even your confidence when you speak.
Absolutely. When you slow down just a little, your sentences become stronger. You can think about the tense, the right preposition, and the right tone before you speak.
And that kind of awareness helps you avoid small mistakes that can confuse listeners. For example, if you rush, you might say he go to school, but when you slow down, your brain reminds you, wait, it should be he goes to school.
Yes, that's a perfect example. Slowing down gives your brain time to correct itself before the words come out.
It's almost like you're training your speaking muscles. You know how athletes practice movements slowly before they do them fast? It's the same with language.
Exactly. You build strong habits first, and when those habits become natural, speed comes automatically.
That's such an important mindset for learners, not to rush the process. Because language is not a race, it's a journey.
Yes, and on that journey, every slow and careful sentence is a step forward. Even short, simple sentences like, I'm learning English every day help you grow.
Definitely. And I think this connects to patience. You have to be patient with yourself when learning to speak. No one becomes fluent overnight.
Right, and even native speakers sometimes pause, correct themselves, or forget a word, so learners should never feel bad if they do the same.
That's a great reminder. When you speak slowly, you're not only improving accuracy, you're also being kind to yourself. You give yourself space to learn, not pressure to perform.
Yes, and I think that kindness helps learners enjoy speaking more. When you're relaxed, your pronunciation improves too. Your mouth moves more naturally, and your voice sounds smoother.
True, stress and speed often create tension, not just in your mind, but in your voice. But calm, slow speech sounds pleasant and confident.
Exactly. You can even hear the difference when someone is relaxed. Their tone becomes warm and natural.
And that's how you want your English to sound: clear, confident, and calm.
I completely agree. You don't need to sound like a movie actor or a YouTuber speaking fast. You just need to sound like yourself, but clear and comfortable.
Yes, like a version of you that communicates with ease.
So, maybe next time our listeners practice, they can set one goal. Speak clearly, not quickly.
That's a great goal. You can even write it down as a reminder. Today, I will speak slowly, but correctly.
I like that. It's simple but powerful, because small daily habits like that create long-term progress.
Exactly. And it helps in every situation: speaking with friends, giving presentations, even doing interviews. People will understand you better and respect your effort.
Yes, and that respect builds confidence. The more people understand you, the more you want to keep speaking.
That's true. Communication becomes enjoyable instead of stressful.
And once it feels enjoyable, fluency starts to grow naturally.
So it's really a circle. Slow speaking builds confidence, confidence makes you more relaxed, and relaxation helps you speak even better.
I like that. A positive circle of learning.
Me too. And that's why slowing down is not a weakness. It's actually a strong, smart strategy for improving your English.
Exactly. It's a mindset shift from I must speak fast to I must speak clearly, and that's when real fluency begins.
So, Nick, how about we share a few short practice ideas for our listeners who want to train speaking slowly, but correctly?
Great idea. The first one is what I call mirror speaking. You stand in front of a mirror and speak to yourself. Watch your mouth, your face, and your rhythm. It helps you become aware of how fast or slow you're speaking.
That's a really helpful one. Another exercise is record and repeat. Record yourself saying a few sentences, listen carefully, and then repeat them more slowly and clearly. You'll immediately hear the difference.
Yes, and you don't need fancy equipment, just your phone is enough.
Exactly, and you can do it for 1 or 2 minutes every day. Consistency matters more than duration.
Another thing I tell learners is to read aloud slowly. Choose a short paragraph or a few lines from a story and read them carefully, focusing on pronunciation and pauses.
That's a great one too. It builds your speaking and reading skills at the same time.
And the last idea is to practice with a partner who understands your goal. You can tell them, let's both speak slowly today. That way, you help each other.
Yes, speaking with someone else who supports your pace makes practice much easier. You can even ask them to tell you if you start speaking too fast again.
That kind of feedback helps you stay mindful, because it's easy to slip back into old habits if no one notices.
Exactly, and the more you practice consciously, the more natural, slow, and correct speaking becomes.
Over time, you won't even think about it. You'll just speak clearly, naturally, confidently, and comfortably.
And that's the goal for every English learner.
To reach that point where speaking feels effortless, where you're not thinking about every single word, but the words come out correctly because you trained yourself to stay calm and clear.
Yes, that's the beauty of it. When you slow down and focus on correctness, you build automatic accuracy. Later, even when you speed up, your sentences will still be right because you created that strong foundation.
Exactly. It's just like learning music. If you learn a song too fast at first, you'll keep repeating mistakes. But if you learn it slowly, you master each note, and later you can play beautifully at any speed.
That's such a perfect comparison. English is a kind of music, too. Rhythm, tone, flow, all of that matters. And you can't make music if you're rushing every beat.
Right. And the more you listen to yourself and practice slowly, the more you develop your ear for natural English. You start hearing the right patterns, where to pause, which words to stress, how to connect sounds smoothly.
Yes, and that's something you can't do if you rush. Your brain needs time to notice the sound and shape of the language.
Exactly. And that's why slow doesn't mean beginner. It means mindful. It means you're paying attention to how language actually works.
I really like that word mindful because speaking English slowly but correctly is about awareness. It's about being present in the moment when you speak, not just throwing words out.
Yes, and awareness leads to improvement. When you notice your mistakes, you can fix them, but if you speak too fast, you might not even realize what went wrong.
That's true. Some learners say, I don't know why people don't understand me. But when they listen to their recording, they realize they were rushing or skipping sounds.
Exactly. A simple slowdown changes everything. Pronunciation becomes clearer, grammar becomes smoother, and confidence grows.
And it's such a small change. You don't need to study grammar books for hours to improve. Just slow down your speaking a little, and your English immediately sounds better.
Yes, sometimes progress isn't about adding more rules or more words. It's about doing the same things but more carefully. And this is something every learner can do, no matter their level. Even beginners can start speaking slowly and correctly from day one.
Absolutely. It's one of those habits that's useful at every stage. Beginners can use it to build accuracy, and advanced learners can use it to sound more natural and professional.
Exactly, because even advanced speakers sometimes speak too fast when they feel nervous or excited. Slowing down helps them regain control.
That's a good point. It's not just about language learning, it's about communication in general. The calmer you are, the better people understand you.
Right, because communication isn't just about words. It's also about how you make people feel. When you speak slowly and clearly, you show respect for your listener.
Yes, you make the conversation comfortable. And that's a big part of being a good communicator, not just speaking, but connecting.
Exactly, and when your listener feels comfortable, the conversation flows naturally. That's when you start thinking in English without pressure.
Yes, because you're not rushing, you're letting your mind move at its own rhythm.
I think that's the real secret of fluency: rhythm, not speed.
I love that. Fluency is rhythm, not speed. That's such a powerful idea.
And it's something learners can remember every time they practice. If it feels too fast, it probably is. Slow down, breathe, speak clearly.
Exactly, because every word you speak clearly builds trust, trust in your own ability, and trust from the person you're talking to.
That's right, and that trust gives you confidence to keep going.
It's a beautiful process, slow, but meaningful.
And it's the reason we encourage everyone listening to keep practicing this skill every day, even just for a few minutes.
Yes, even short, daily practice can make a big difference. Because consistency is more powerful than intensity.
Exactly. A few minutes of careful, slow speaking every day will do more for your progress than an hour of rushing once a week.
That's such a good reminder. It's about building the right habits, not chasing quick results.
And once those habits become part of you, you'll notice your English sounds natural, relaxed, and confident without even trying.
Yes, and that's what we want for every listener, to feel comfortable and proud when they speak.
Because English isn't about being perfect. It's about expressing yourself clearly.
Exactly, and the best way to do that is by slowing down just enough to let your ideas shine through your words.
Well said, Alexa. Speaking slowly but correctly is really the key to making English your friend, not your fear.
I couldn't agree more, and in the next part, we're going to talk about
How to train your brain to think slowly in English before you speak. Because if your thoughts move too fast in your native language, your mouth will try to follow, and that's when mistakes happen.
Exactly. Many learners don't realize that speaking slowly starts with thinking slowly. If your mind is calm, your words will be calm too.
That's true. When you think too quickly in your first language, and then try to translate everything, it becomes a mess. But when you slow down your thoughts, you give yourself space to find the right English words.
Right. It's like organizing your ideas before you put them into words. Instead of rushing to say everything at once, you can take a breath, form one clear sentence, and then speak it with confidence.
And that single sentence, even if it's short, will sound natural and correct.
Yes, and once you finish one clear thought, your brain feels ready for the next one. Step by step, sentence by sentence, it starts to flow.
That's the best kind of fluency, natural flow, not forced speed.
Exactly. And to train this, you can try thinking breaks. For example, before you speak, pause for a second and quickly plan your sentence. Ask yourself, what is my subject? What is my verb? What is my idea? Then speak.
That's a great technique. It might feel a little slow at first, but soon it becomes automatic. You'll start thinking in full English sentences instead of word by word.
Yes, and that's when your English starts to sound smooth. Because your brain and mouth are moving together, not fighting each other.
Exactly. I sometimes tell my students, don't rush your brain. Let your brain lead, and your mouth will follow.
I love that advice, because when learners rush, they often skip grammar or forget small details like is, are, or the. But when they slow down, they remember naturally.
Right. And this also helps with pronunciation. If you give yourself time to shape each sound, your accent improves too.
Yes, pronunciation really benefits from a slower pace. You can open your mouth properly, move your tongue the right way, and make every sound clear.
That's true. For example, many learners say gonna or wanna too fast before learning the full words. But when they slow down and say going to or want to, they understand the natural sound connection better.
Exactly. Once you master the clear version, you can later learn to speak more naturally or faster. But first, clarity matters most.
I think of it like learning to dance first. You learn the basic steps slowly, and later, you can move faster and add style.
That's a perfect example. You can't dance gracefully if you skip the basics. And you can't speak beautifully if you skip accuracy.
Right. And sometimes learners feel embarrassed to speak slowly in front of others. But actually, people appreciate clear, well-pronounced English.
Yes, clarity always leaves a good impression. It shows that you're serious about communication.
And when you focus on correctness, people will notice your progress more than your speed.
That's so true. I've met learners who speak slowly but make very few mistakes, and they sound confident and intelligent.
Yes, and confidence is contagious when you sound sure of yourself. Listeners feel relaxed too.
Exactly. That's what communication is all about, helping both sides feel comfortable and connected.
And when both sides feel comfortable, the conversation flows naturally, even if the pace is slower.
Right, because fluency is not about how fast you speak. It's about how easily the conversation continues.
Exactly. It's that easy, natural rhythm where both speakers understand each other perfectly.
And that's what we want to help our listeners develop, a comfortable, natural rhythm that allows them to speak English slowly, but correctly, and enjoy every moment of it.
Yes, because when you enjoy it, you learn faster. Your brain remembers positive experiences better than stressful ones.
That's true, so the next time you practice, don't rush. Smile, take a breath, and speak clearly. Enjoy the sound of your own English.
That's a wonderful tip. And maybe, Alexa, in the next part, we can talk about how to use body language and tone of voice when speaking slowly, because those two also make communication stronger.
Oh, yes, that's a great direction to go next. Because speaking slowly doesn't only involve words, it's about how your face, hands, and voice help you express your meaning.
Exactly. When you speak slowly, you have more control over your gestures and your facial expressions. That makes your communication more natural and engaging.
Yes, because language isn't just sound, it's emotion, movement, and rhythm. When you slow down, your body naturally joins the conversation. You make eye contact, you smile, you move your hands to support your words.
Right. And those small movements actually help your listener understand your message better. For example, if you're describing something big, using your hands to show the size helps people visualize it.
Yes, and it also helps you remember words. Body movement activates your memory. So, when you move while speaking, it's easier for your brain to find vocabulary.
That's true. It's almost like your body and your language are working as a team.
Exactly, and your tone of voice is part of that team too. When you speak slowly, you can control your tone better, make it warm, friendly, or serious, depending on what you want to say.
Yes, tone carries emotion. If you rush, your tone becomes flat or nervous. But when you slow down, you can add feeling to your voice. You can emphasize words that matter, like, I really appreciate that, or that's so interesting.
Right, that's how you make your English sound alive, because emotion connects people. And you can only express emotion clearly when you're not in a hurry.
Exactly. Fast speech often hides emotion. Slow speech shows it.
And it makes you sound more confident too. Confident speakers don't rush, they take their time, and people listen.
Yes, that's a great point. Think about leaders, teachers, or storytellers. They all speak slowly and clearly because they know the power of pacing.
Exactly, listeners trust someone who speaks calmly. It gives a feeling of control and confidence.
And that's something every English learner can practice. Even if your vocabulary is small, your tone and pace can make your English sound impressive.
Yes, because it's not about the number of words, it's about how you use them.
Exactly. For example, saying a simple sentence like, I believe in myself, slowly, with confidence and good tone, sounds powerful.
I love that example. It's such a short sentence, but the way you say it changes everything.
And that's the beauty of slow speaking. It gives importance to every word.
Yes, every word has time to breathe, time to be heard.
And that's what communication really is, making sure your listener hears you, not just your voice, but your message.
Exactly, it's about connection, not speed.
So when you slow down, you're not only improving your English, you're improving how people feel when they listen to you.
Yes, and that's a skill that goes beyond language learning. It's useful in every part of life: interviews, relationships, presentations, everything.
Absolutely. Because people remember how you make them feel. If your tone is calm and your words are clear, they'll always enjoy talking to you.
That's so true, and it's something that can make even a beginner speaker stand out.
Exactly. You don't need advanced grammar to sound professional or confident. You just need clarity, calmness, and control.
Yes, and all of those come naturally when you practice speaking slowly, but correctly.
It's like giving each word a purpose, not rushing to the next, but allowing the current one to shine.
That's beautiful, Nick. It really captures the idea of mindful speaking.
Thanks, Alexa. And I think mindfulness is the heart of everything we're talking about: being present, being aware, and being patient with yourself.
Yes, patience is such an important part of learning any language. You have to trust that slow steps lead to strong results.
Exactly. Fast results often fade quickly, but slow, steady progress stays with you forever.
That's so true, and it's the same with speaking. When you take your time to say something correctly, your brain learns it better.
Yes, because every correct sentence you speak slowly becomes part of your memory.
And over time, those small moments of careful speaking turn into automatic fluency.
Exactly. That's why we always remind learners slow doesn't mean weak. It means strong, smart, and aware.
Yes, and it shows maturity in your learning process. You're not chasing speed, you're building skill.
That's right. Because in the end, fluency is not about racing through words, it's about expressing ideas smoothly, confidently, and correctly.
And once you master that, you'll realize that slow and correct speech is actually the fastest path to true fluency.
That's perfectly said, Alexa. And in the next part, I think we should guide our listeners through a short practice, maybe a mini exercise where we model how to slow down a sentence step by step. Another thing that helps is to practice enunciating clearly. That means pronouncing each word carefully, not rushing the endings or mixing sounds. Many learners drop the last sounds like T or D, and that can make sentences harder to understand.
Yes, like when someone says last night instead of last night. It might sound natural for native speakers, but for learners, skipping sounds too early can make speech unclear. It's better to say last night clearly first, and later you can learn natural reductions.
Exactly. You need to build correctness first before trying to sound fast or native-like. Fluency comes with time, but correctness is your foundation. Think of it like walking before running.
That's a great comparison. And also, speaking slowly gives you time to think in English instead of translating from your native language. When you rush, your brain panics and goes back to your first language. But when you slow down, you actually train your mind to stay in English.
That's true. I tell my students, slow speech means calm brain. It really helps reduce stress when speaking. If you're calm, you can remember grammar, vocabulary, and pronunciation much better.
Totally, and people listening to you will also appreciate it. I think many learners forget that speaking is not just about you, it's about making your message clear for the listener. If your listener can understand you easily, that's a big success, even if you speak slowly.
Yes, communication is about understanding, not speed. You can speak slowly and still sound confident. In fact, many confident speakers like teachers or public speakers talk slowly on purpose to sound clear and in control.
That's a really good point. Speed doesn't equal fluency. Some learners think speaking fast makes them fluent, but it can actually make them sound nervous or unsure. Speaking slowly but correctly shows that you are aware of what you're saying.
Right, and when you speak slowly, you can also use natural pauses. Pausing is powerful. It helps you sound more thoughtful, and it gives listeners time to process what you're saying.
Exactly, and it gives you time too. You can think about your next sentence, correct your grammar, or choose a better word. So speaking slowly actually helps you improve your accuracy while speaking.
I like that. Slow speaking is not a weakness, it's a strategy. It's a smart choice for learning and communication. I like that. Slow speaking is not a weakness, it's a strategy. It's a smart choice for learning and communication.
I agree. Maybe we can talk next about how to practice speaking slowly in daily life, like specific techniques or exercises learners can use.
Great idea, Alexa. There are many simple habits that can help, like recording yourself, reading aloud, or using short daily conversations for practice.
Perfect. Let's get into that next.
So, one really effective way to practice speaking slowly is to record yourself while reading something simple in English. It could be a short story, a news article, or even part of a podcast script. When you record and listen again, you can check if your pronunciation is clear, if your words connect naturally, and if your speed feels comfortable.
Yes, that's a great exercise. And when you listen to your own voice, you become more aware of how you actually sound, not how you think you sound. Sometimes learners are surprised because they realize they speak faster or softer than they expected.
Exactly. Awareness is the first step. Once you know your natural speed, you can control it better. I usually tell students to aim for a pace where every word is understandable, but still sounds natural. Not robotic, Not rushed, just balanced.
That's really helpful. Another idea is to use what I call the breathing technique. Before speaking, take a slow breath. When you breathe calmly, your sentences also slow down naturally. You don't have to force it, it just happens.
I like that technique a lot. It also reduces anxiety, especially when speaking in front of others. Taking a small pause before you answer gives you time to think. It's not a mistake. It's smart communication.
Definitely. And if learners practice that regularly, breathing, pausing, speaking calmly, they'll notice big changes. Their sentences will become smoother, their pronunciation clearer, and their confidence stronger.
Another thing that works is reading out loud every day. You can choose short dialogues or even children's books. The goal is not to memorize, but to practice pronunciation, rhythm, and control. Try to speak clearly and slowly enough that you understand every sound you're making.
Yes, reading aloud is such a powerful method. It trains your mouth and tongue muscles to form English sounds correctly. And if you read a little every day, your speaking habits start to improve automatically.
And if you want to make it more fun, you can try shadowing a slow speaker. For example, find a video or podcast where someone speaks clearly and slowly, and then repeat after them with the same pace and tone.
Oh yes, that's an amazing method, especially for pronunciation and rhythm. When you copy a speaker who speaks slowly and correctly, you develop muscle memory for clear English speech.
Right. And it's okay if you can't follow everything at first. The goal is not perfection, it's progress. You can start with just 1 or 2 sentences, then increase as you feel more comfortable.
Exactly. Small steps make big changes, and speaking slowly gives your brain time to process grammar naturally. Over time, you'll make fewer mistakes because you actually have time to notice them before you speak.
That's such a good point. Many learners rush and then get frustrated because they keep making the same mistakes. But if you slow down, you give yourself space to self-correct and learn faster.
Yes, learning to slow down is almost like learning to respect your own progress. It's saying, I'm learning, and I want to do it right. That kind of mindset really helps you build lasting fluency.
Absolutely. And I think it's also a good reminder that even native speakers speak slowly sometimes, especially in presentations or serious conversations. They use pauses and slower speech to make sure their message is clear.
True, so learners shouldn't feel embarrassed about speaking slowly. It's completely normal and even professional in many situations.
You know, Alexa, I remember one of my students who used to speak very fast because she thought it sounded more fluent, but she often mixed up words and used the wrong tenses. Once she started slowing down, everything changed. Her sentences became more accurate, her pronunciation improved, and people understood her much better.
That's a perfect example. I've had students like that too. It's so interesting how slowing down actually makes you sound smarter. When you speak slowly, people can see that you're thinking about what you say, not just rushing to finish a sentence.
Yes, it shows confidence and clarity. And it also helps with pronunciation of longer or more difficult words, like when you say words such as comfortable or probably. Speaking slowly helps you pronounce every syllable correctly.
Exactly. Let's take comfortable, for example. Many learners say it too quickly, like calm dash for dash ta dash ble, when native speakers often say double quotes com f dash tu a dash bul dot double quotes. But before you reach that natural sound, you should learn to pronounce it clearly step by step, com dash for dash ta dash ble. Then, later, it will naturally become smoother.
Right. You can't skip to the native version before mastering the correct pronunciation. It's like music, you have to learn the notes before you play fast.
I love that comparison. Language really is like music. Rhythm, sound, emotion all connected. And just like in music, silence or pauses are part of the beauty. They give meaning to what you say.
Well said. And another thing, when you speak slowly, you actually give your listener time to react. In conversations, this helps build a natural flow. You speak, pause, and then the other person responds. It feels more comfortable and natural.
Yes, and it prevents misunderstanding. Sometimes when people speak too fast, others hesitate to ask questions because they don't want to interrupt. But if you speak calmly and slowly, you make others feel more at ease to talk with you.
That's so true. It creates a friendly atmosphere. Also, for learners, speaking slowly gives them a chance to use intonation, better rising and falling tones to express meaning.
Right, and intonation is so important for sounding natural. When you slow down, you can control your tone, your stress, and your emotion. You start to sound more expressive instead of flat or monotone.
I think many learners underestimate how much tone affects meaning. For example, the same sentence, "You're coming today," can sound like a question, a statement, or even surprise, just depending on how you say it.
Yes, and when you speak too fast, you lose that control. So slowing down helps not just with pronunciation, but with emotional expression too. It helps you connect with the listener more deeply.
That's a really good point. Maybe that's why so many professional speakers, teachers, and even actors practice speaking slowly. It's not just about words, it's about communication, connection, and confidence.
Exactly, and it's something learners can start practicing today. Just slow down a little, focus on clear pronunciation, and allow yourself to breathe. That's already a big improvement.
Yes, even slowing down by just 10 or 20% can make a huge difference in clarity. It's not about sounding slow, it's about sounding clear and confident.
Totally, and once learners get comfortable with that, their speaking will naturally become smoother and faster over time, but in a controlled and correct way.
It's like building muscle memory for speaking. The more you practice slow and correct speech, the more your brain remembers the right way to form sentences and sounds.
Exactly, and one day, without realizing it, you'll just start speaking more fluently and it'll be both correct and natural.
You know, Alexa, I think it's also important for learners to remember that speaking slowly doesn't mean speaking without emotion. Some people worry that if they slow down, they'll sound bored or robotic, but that's not true at all. You can still sound lively, friendly, and natural even when your pace is calm.
That's such an important point. Slow doesn't mean flat. You can still smile while you speak. You can still show energy in your voice. It's about being intentional with your words, not rushing through them.
Exactly, and smiling while speaking actually changes your tone naturally. It makes your voice warmer and more pleasant, even if your words come out slowly.
Yes, smiling is like a free pronunciation trick. It opens your mouth a bit wider and helps with sounds like E or I, so learners can use that to make their speech both clearer and friendlier.
That's a good tip. And another way to keep your speech natural while staying slow is to use natural linking between words. For example, when you say go on, you can link it smoothly, like goon, instead of pausing too much between them. That way, your speech sounds connected, but still at a comfortable speed.
Right, that's where practice really matters. Slow doesn't mean choppy. You can be slow and smooth at the same time. It's like slow dancing, you move carefully, but every step connects to the next one.
That's a great comparison. So learners can practice by reading sentences slowly, but with rhythm. For instance, instead of saying, "I want to go to the park," they can say, "I want to go to the park," just a bit slower, but with a natural flow.
Exactly, the goal is not to sound mechanical. It's to sound calm and understandable. And with practice, learners will find the right balance between slow and smooth.
Another trick I sometimes share is using your hands while you talk. If you move your hands naturally, your speech often slows down in a comfortable way. It helps you control your rhythm and adds expression to your communication.
That's true. Gestures actually help you think and speak more clearly. They give your brain time to organize your thoughts before the next sentence. So it's not just about what you say, it's about how your body supports your speech.
Exactly. It's amazing how physical movement connects to language learning. The more relaxed your body is, the more natural your speech becomes.
Yes, tension makes people talk faster, when someone feels nervous, their body tightens, and they rush through words. But when you relax your shoulders and breathe slowly, your voice follows that calm rhythm. Yes, tension makes people talk faster. When someone feels nervous, their body tightens, and they rush through words. But when you relax your shoulders and breathe slowly, your voice follows that calm rhythm.
That's so true. So maybe one of the best things learners can do before speaking English is to just take one deep breath, relax their body, and remind themselves it's okay to speak slowly.
Yes, I love that. It's a small mindset shift, but it changes everything. Because when you feel calm, you focus on clarity, and you naturally sound more confident and fluent.
And confidence is the key. Even if your grammar isn't perfect yet, if you speak slowly and clearly, people will respect your effort and understand you easily.
Exactly. People don't judge you for your accent or your speed, they just want to understand you. So if you can make your message clear, you're already succeeding.
Absolutely. And the more you practice slow, correct speech, the more automatic it becomes. Later, when your brain gets used to English patterns, your speed will naturally increase, but without losing clarity.
That's the beauty of it. Slow now means faster later, because you're building a strong base. Learners who try to rush from the beginning often end up stuck or frustrated, but those who start with patience improve more deeply.
And patience really is the secret to learning any language. People often want results fast, they want to sound fluent in a few months, but real fluency comes from calm, consistent practice. Speaking slowly helps you stay patient and enjoy the process instead of feeling stressed.
Yes, and when you enjoy the process, you learn better. Learning English shouldn't feel like a race. It should feel like a journey, step by step. Every word you pronounce clearly, every correct sentence you make, that's progress.
Exactly. And when you focus on speaking correctly, not just quickly, you actually build long-term confidence. You start to trust yourself more because you know you're saying things the right way.
I've seen that with many students too. At first, they're afraid to speak because they don't want to make mistakes. But when they start speaking slowly, they realize they have time to think, and that fear slowly disappears.
Right. Because slowing down gives your brain a chance to find the right words and form correct sentences. It's not about being perfect, it's about being clear and confident.
I think that's such an important message. Learners sometimes think confidence means speaking fast, but it's actually the opposite. Real confidence means being comfortable with silence, pauses, and taking your time.
Yes, exactly. Some of the best speakers use pauses on purpose. It makes their message sound more powerful. When you pause, people listen. They pay attention to what's coming next.
That's so true. Pausing is not a mistake, it's a tool. Learners can even practice that intentionally say a sentence, pause for a second, and then continue. It trains you to stay calm and in control of your speech.
And that's something you can do in everyday situations, like ordering food, introducing yourself, or having small talk. Just take your time. Speak each sentence clearly. You'll notice people understand you better, and the conversation feels smoother.
Yes, even simple daily conversations are perfect for practicing. You don't need to wait for a special time to train your speaking. Every small interaction is an opportunity to speak slowly and correctly.
Exactly. For example, when you talk to yourself in English or describe your day, you can practice forming sentences at a comfortable speed. Say, I'm going to the store. I cooked dinner today. The weather is nice. It sounds simple, but it's real practice.
Yes, and speaking to yourself is one of the best ways to get comfortable with English. No pressure, no fear of mistakes. You can focus completely on pronunciation and accuracy.
And if you record those short moments, like 1 minute each day, you will start to notice progress after a few weeks. Your voice will sound more natural, your pronunciation clearer, and your confidence stronger.
That's a wonderful idea. Learners can even make it part of their daily routine. Just 1 minute of slow, clear English a day can make a big difference over time.
Definitely. Because improvement doesn't come from speed, it comes from consistency. Speaking slowly, but practicing regularly builds the kind of fluency that lasts.
And that's something every learner can do, no matter their level. Whether you're a beginner or intermediate, speaking slowly is always beneficial. It's the bridge between accuracy and fluency.
Yes, it's that middle point where you're learning, but also communicating successfully. You're not just repeating words, you're expressing yourself clearly.
And that's what language is all about, expressing yourself. It's not about impressing people with fast speech, it's about connecting with them through clear communication.
Exactly. Communication is the real goal, and clarity always beats speed.
I like that idea. Nick, clarity always beats speed. Because think about it, even when we listen to someone speaking our own native language, if they talk too fast, we get lost. But when someone speaks calmly and clearly, we feel comfortable and connected.
That's true. When you hear someone speak slowly and confidently, it actually feels more trustworthy. You can follow their ideas and feel like they're taking the time to communicate with you, not just at you.
That's such a good way to put it. And I think English learners should remember that slow speaking actually shows respect for the listener. It shows that you care about being understood.
Yes, exactly. It's a sign of maturity in communication, and it also shows that you value clarity more than showing of speed. I think that's one of the most important mindset changes for learners to move from. I want to sound fluent fast to I want to sound clear and correct.
Absolutely, that shift changes everything. Because when you focus on being clear, your pronunciation improves naturally, your grammar becomes stronger, and your confidence grows step by step.
And eventually, fluency follows. It's like building a house. If you take your time to make a strong foundation, you can build higher later. But if you rush the foundation, the whole structure becomes unstable.
I love that metaphor. English is the same, you build it carefully, brick by brick. And speaking slowly is one of those strong bricks that hold everything together.
Exactly. You can have a big vocabulary, but if you say the words too fast or unclearly, people won't understand you. But even with simple words, if you say them clearly, you can communicate beautifully.
That's so true. Some of the best English speakers I've met didn't use complicated words. They just spoke clearly, calmly, and with purpose. It made their message easy to understand and powerful to hear.
Yes, and that's something learners can practice every single day, just focusing on how they say things instead of how many words they know. The way you speak matters as much as the words themselves.
Definitely. And I think that's also what makes English communication so beautiful. It's not about perfection, it's about connection. You can connect with people from anywhere in the world if you speak slowly and clearly.
That's true. And one thing I often tell my students is, don't be afraid of silence. Sometimes silence feels uncomfortable, so people rush their words to fill the space. But silence actually gives power to your words.
I completely agree. A small pause shows that you're thoughtful. It gives your listeners time to reflect on what you've said, and it helps you organize your thoughts before continuing.
Exactly. And even in job interviews or presentations, silence can make you look more professional and confident. People who pause don't seem nervous, they seem in control.
That's such a good point. So slowing down not only helps with pronunciation, but it also changes how people see you as a speaker. It makes you sound confident, intelligent, and composed.
Yes, and that's a huge confidence boost. Once you realize that speaking slowly makes you sound better, not worse, you stop trying to rush. You start enjoying your own voice more.
That's such a beautiful moment for learners when they finally feel proud of their English, even if it's not perfect. Because they realize communication isn't about speed, it's about connection and expression.
Exactly. And the funny thing is, once you master speaking slowly and correctly, you will naturally start speaking faster without even trying. Your brain and mouth will just sync up.
Yes, that's so true. Fluency grows quietly in the background when you give yourself permission to slow down.
And I think that's the part a lot of learners don't realize. Fluency is not something you force. It's something that grows naturally with correct habits. If you practice speaking slowly, thinking in English, and focusing on accuracy, One day, you'll just notice that you're speaking faster without losing control.
Exactly. It's a gradual change. One day you'll be having a conversation, and you'll suddenly realize, wait, I didn't translate that sentence. I just said it. That's how fluency happens step by step, not all at once.
Yes, and that's such a rewarding feeling, but it starts with patience, and patience begins with slowing down. When you rush, you miss those small improvements that are actually signs of real progress.
That's so true. And when you speak slowly, you start to notice your mistakes, which means you can fix them. If you speak too fast, you don't even realize what went wrong. But when you slow down, you can catch small grammar or pronunciation errors and correct them immediately.
Exactly. Slow speech gives you space to learn from yourself. It's like having a built-in teacher in your own voice. You can think, how? I said that wrong, let me try again. That's active learning in real time.
I really love that idea, your voice becoming your teacher. Because when you hear yourself clearly, you start to trust your English more. It's no longer just about memorizing, it's about understanding how you sound.
Yes, and that self-awareness is powerful. It's what separates learners who improve quickly from those who stay stuck. If you can listen to yourself and adjust, you will keep getting better.
Definitely. And even if it feels strange at first, learners should know that speaking slowly doesn't mean they're less fluent, it means they're training correctly. It's like musicians who practice slowly before performing fast pieces.
Exactly. Every professional trains slowly first. No one becomes great by rushing through mistakes. So why should learning English be any different?
Right, it's the same with everything: music, sports, even cooking. If you go too fast before mastering the basics, you'll only repeat errors. But when you take your time, you build real skill.
Yes, and that's why it's so important to change the mindset about speed. Learners often feel pressure to talk fast, but there's actually no reason to rush. You don't need to speak fast to be fluent. You need to speak clearly to be understood.
That's so true. And once you understand that, speaking English becomes much more enjoyable. You stop comparing yourself to native speakers or others, and you start focusing on your own progress.
Yes, and that's when learning becomes peaceful. You start appreciating every small improvement, every clear sentence, every conversation where someone understands you easily.
And that's the best feeling, isn't it? When you realize people understand you not because you spoke fast, but because you spoke clearly and confidently.
Absolutely. That's the real goal of language, to connect, not to impress. When your message reaches someone's heart or mind, you've succeeded, no matter how fast or slow you spoke.
I completely agree. And maybe that's the biggest lesson for English learners: to focus less on speed and more on sincerity and clarity. Because that's what makes a conversation meaningful.
Exactly. And when learners remember that, speaking slowly stops feeling like a limitation, it starts feeling like a superpower.
And that's how you can talk about your daily routine in English: simple, natural, and full of small expressions that make you sound more fluent every day.
Yes, and remember, it's not just about memorizing the words, it's about using them in your real life. Try talking about your day every morning or before bed.
Exactly. You can even record yourself and listen back to notice your pronunciation and rhythm.
The more you repeat it, the more natural it becomes. Soon, you won't even have to think, English will just flow.
Thank you for joining us today on English Podcast for Beginners.
Keep practicing, stay kind to yourself, and speak a little English every day.
See you in the next episode.
Wake up. Meaning to stop sleeping and become awake. I usually wake up at 6:30 in the morning. She woke up late because she forgot to set her alarm. Get dressed. Meaning to put on clothes. After I shower, I get dressed for work. He quickly got dressed because he was running late. Commute, meaning to travel regularly between home and work or school. My commute to the office takes about 30 minutes. Many people commute by train every morning. Grab, meaning to take something quickly or suddenly. I usually grab a cup of coffee before leaving. She grabbed her bag and rushed out of the house. Focus, meaning to concentrate on something. It's hard to focus in the morning without breakfast. He needs a quiet place to focus on his studies. Take a break, meaning to rest for a short time from work or study. I always take a break at 3 p.m. for tea. Don't forget to take a break when you feel tired. Prepare, meaning to make something ready. I prepare my lunch before going to work. She prepared her clothes the night before. Relax, meaning to rest and stop worrying or working hard. I like to relax by watching TV after dinner. You should relax this weekend and not think about work. Fall asleep, meaning to begin sleeping. I usually fall asleep around 11 p.m. He fell asleep while reading a book. Routine, meaning a regular way of doing things. Having a morning routine helps me stay organized. Her daily routine includes exercise and journaling.